Bandwidth for this podcast is brought to you by Ideate Software. Be sure to check out all of their great Revit applications designed to increase your productivity. We're here at BIM Thoughts, in case you didn't know, because you picked it and you hit the play button. So obviously you want to be here. We have Carl Storms and Dana DeFilippi, of course, with us today. We also have Sarah Causey. Causey, did I get it right?
It's okay. Per usual, you got it absolutely wrong.
Did I?
Yeah, it's Causey. It says it right there. You made up that L.
You're consistent.
Oh, what is it? What does it mean with the L's?
I don't know. You have a few in your name. You know, you like to toss them around.
See, I'm missing consonants, so maybe I just put L's in somewhere where I think they should be. But anyway, Sarah's here. Yeah. Did you hear about Noodle the pug?
No.
You told us about Noodle last time.
Oh, I did? Okay.
Whether his like tail or something, it's
a bone or no bone day.
A bone or no bone day, that's right.
Today's a bone day.
And okay, without knowing the backstory of that could be interpreted a lot of ways.
Yes, it could be, but it isn't.
I'm going to have to go back and listen to the BIM Thoughts podcast I missed and catch up with you guys.
That's right. That's right.
What makes it a bone day or not a bone day? Have us all catch up together.
If Noodle stands up by himself or stays standing after he lifts him up out of bed.
It's coming back to me. Noodle has a friend. Noodle's doggy friend comes and brings him a treat or something.
Oh, that's not it. You're so wrong.
God dang it. I just like treats and toys and friends.
Treats are good. What's your treat these days?
My personal treat? This is obnoxious. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I like the Good Humor SpongeBob ice cream bar.
Really? The Good Humor SpongeBob ice cream bar.
It's like a sorbet. It's like, you know what I'm talking about. You like, go to the gas station and like they have that like little sliding thing. You can get like the push-up pops or like the Choco Tacos, right?
The Nutty Buddies.
They have a SpongeBob like pop in there, and I love this thing. It's amazing. It has like fruit punch and cotton candy sorbet.
Wow. So what's your go-to, Carl?
Well, currently it's all the leftover Halloween goodie bags that I made for the hundreds of kids that didn't come.
Yeah.
What are in these goodie bags? I want a goodie bag.
Hundreds of kids who didn't come.
We're in a new neighborhood. And we heard there was going to be lots of new kids, so I made up 100 goodie bags.
Did you register your house on the app? I feel like that was a thing this year.
No, we didn't have an app, but there was a lot of people putting you know, on the community Facebook group or whatever it was, you know, come to our house, we have full-size chocolate bars, whatever it was. I wasn't that cool, but it was, you know, a little goodie bag with a couple of little fun-size chocolate bars and some super Sour Patch Kids and a couple of rockets, which you guys call Smarties in the States.
Okay.
And but yeah, so now I have like we had 100 goodie bags and we had 7 kids. So,
well, they heard you had Smarties.
I will say, Bill, I enjoy Smarties. Don't read on
really?
Smarties. Yeah.
You're
Do you know what I don't like is candy corn.
Oh, same. Nope. Yuck. Gross.
You know what's the worst? The absolute worst candy ever made? Those Valentine's Day chalk crap hearts.
They're gross.
Oh.
They aren't as bad as candy corn. Or do you remember getting like going from house to house and getting the cheap taffy candies that was wrapped in like black wrappers? Also terrible candy.
Terrible candy.
I'll take a Tootsie Roll.
But you know what the best is? For me, the best thing ever created was the caramel apple sucker.
Yes, those are so good.
Like people can keep their pumpkin spice lattes.
I
want the caramel apple suckers.
100%, Sarah.
It's so good.
Those aren't even seasonal. You can get those all year.
How about the caramel M&Ms?
Oh, I haven't had those.
Oh, it'll change your life.
I'm not really a chocolate person, so the fact that the caramel is mixed with the sour apple is like on point for me. It's right up my alley.
All right, so for those of you keeping track at home, no beer, no chocolate.
Yeah, unless it's like chocolate cake chocolate ice cream, I'm good with that. I just don't like chocolate ice cream or chocolate candy. I'm definitely more of like the nerds, gobstoppers.
Like not even a Snickers.
Not really. I actually don't mind a Milky Way or a Three Musketeers.
I think maybe something's wrong with Dana.
Midnight Milky Ways.
I every once in a while crave like a piece of dark chocolate. Or I really like the Lindor white chocolate truffles.
No.
But that's not chocolate. that's like butter fat. Really,
this is the best BIM Thoughts podcast ever.
This is it, Candy Thoughts.
Can we just Candy Thoughts this?
Maybe that'll be the title. Candy Thoughts.
Before we segue, one thing that I am incredibly excited about in terms of seasonal candies and treats is the peppermint ice cream during Christmas. I have been tempted to buy an ice cream maker specifically to make myself peppermint ice cream, and it actually has to it can't just be like peppermint colored and flavored. It has to actually have peppermint chunks in it. It's amazing.
We got this popcorn at Macy's one time, overpriced, out of this world, but it was popcorn with chocolate drizzled on it and candy canes in it, and it was the best.
Yes, 100% yes.
Oh, I don't know what it was called, but I know it was overpriced and it was really good. I guess we have to start talking BIM now.
Sarah, what made you move to Raleigh? I am so curious.
So basically, and sorry if you're hearing my dog in the background, Roscoe is growling at something outside.
Did you name him after the sheriff in
I mean, yes, his name is Roscoe P. Causey.
Nice.
And Dukes of Hazzard.
Yes. And now we live in North Carolina, so it's even better.
Funny. All right, boss.
Okay, so my husband's from Charlotte, so that's a good thing to note. So we've talked since the pandemic, but I'll just make this short. So I had my second child, my daughter, right at the height of the pandemic in May, which was nuts, like in the shutdown situation.
Oof.
And then when she was 4 months old, and this is just like a safety PSA for anyone listening. My husband was hit by a car by a guy running a red light, texting and driving, while my husband was on his motorcycle. Now, thankfully, he wears the helmet, the padded jacket, the boots, the pants, the gloves. So if you're a motorcycle rider out there, wear the things.
Yes.
Because it saved his life. But anyway, I had a newborn. He spent 3 months in a wheelchair. So last year was really brutal.
Yes.
So then you come out of that and it's like, okay, life, where are we going? Where do we want to be? And for him, North Carolina's home. And I have not felt like that strong connection like he has to a place. And so, let's live where it feels like home. And so basically that's why we moved here. And he got a job as the East Coast Innovation Lead at DPR Construction. And they do some really cool stuff. And so, yeah. And then I moved over to Flad Architects 3 weeks ago. This is my third week.
Wow. Look at you.
Yeah. All of the changes.
So many changes.
But life does that sometimes,
It does that all the time.
Yeah. Might as well.
Might as well. Can't dance to what to plow.
That's right. Make that lemonade.
Make that lemonade.
I'm so happy the story had a happy ending because that started off like really scary. And
It was.
We all worked together. Sarah's husband, Sarah, and I at Microdesk.
Yep.
And yes. And so I am. Oh God, I had goosebumps there for a moment.
Yeah, it was scary. But orthopedic surgeons are worth every single hundreds of thousands of millions of things that we pay them.
Oh goodness.
So
how are you liking it? That's a pretty big change. You're not next to family anymore. Well, I guess you're next to his family now.
Yeah, they're not too far away. They're on the beach in South Carolina, so we've got a beach place to go to.
Oof,
But, adjusting to
nice.
Copperheads is new.
Yes.
That takes some adjusting. It takes some
And
But
adjusting.
hey,
jiggers.
the lots of stuff happening in Raleigh. The Apple headquarters is coming here. Epic Games, Unreal Engine's headquarters is here in Cary, North Carolina, about 20 minutes away from me. And IBM is here. A lot of tech happening in Raleigh.
And a lot of
So
cool
it's a good place
people.
to be.
Now
Yeah.
Sarah's one of those really cool people in the Raleigh community.
Yeah.
Well, Raleigh got
Sarah-
cool when Sarah got there.
Oh, no, I'm not sure about that.
Well,
okay.
we have a Mid-Atlantic group. One of Sarah's coworkers, Heather Worrell, is very, very active in it, and Sarah's also
Mhm.
participated. We'll have to get you more involved with that. It's called BIMXT Group. For those of you out there who have not participated in the past, definitely join us. We meet monthly and chat about all really cool things BIM. So
Yeah, you've presented at it, right?
I actually am the moderator. So
There you go.
Oh,
I presented last month for the first time ever. I taught some Dynamo things, to which that was a juggle, being a moderator and a presenter.
yeah. Because how do you yell at yourself?
Yeah, how do you yell or like have a conversation
Time to wrap it
with
up,
myself? And
Dana.
I guess I do that a lot. Both of those things, actually. Conversations and yelling. To me, yeah, first person happenings. But no, we have a great group. Sarah, I definitely want to get you more involved in that because it's actually
Yeah.
a bunch of user groups along the East Coast. We've come together and brought the BIMXT group. So
Awesome.
now you're part of the East Coast. You're in my
That's
region.
right. That's right.
That's
It's
super
exciting.
So what are you doing now with the new firm? Tell us all about it. It's
Yeah,
called Flad.
Flad, F-L-A-D,
with a D.
which my
Flad.
husband likes to call flan, which annoys me. Yeah, so Flad is like ish 420 people. I'm not sure what the current count is, so it's quite a bit larger, and they're all over the country. A lot of life sciences, healthcare, laboratories, so things that really have thriven. I don't know what the appropriate past term for thrive is in this last couple years. So it's a really cool space, wanting to do interesting things in technology. Yay for us. So yeah, my title is Manager of Design Technology, but we are still defining exactly what that means because there's a lot of talent and it's a very flat organization. And so we're just trying to figure out what we're all good at and define some lanes. But one thing we could talk about during this podcast today, if you want to, is some of the updates going on with the Unreal Engine, because that's something that's exciting me right now, especially living so close to HQ. And some updates with Twinmotion. So I think kind of the merging of the computation world and the visualization world and even the digital twin world is all happening. It feels like it's all happening together inside of Unreal Engine right now, which is really exciting.
Sounds unreal.
Oh my gosh. It's
you know
so
what is
epic.
unreal?
No. My uncanny jokes.
Well, 100%. That's what I love so much about you, girl. The last time, and those of you who did not see it, you'll definitely have to check it out. We'll put a post below. The last conversation that we had with Sarah was about digital twins.
That's right.
And now we're sitting here talking about, Twinmotion and Unreal
and digital twins again.
What we could do with it.
It's
right?
the Digital Twin podcast.
Well, and I saw that you had Ian Siegel, one of my buddies from back in the New York days. He's great, and he talked to you about Willow, and they're doing some really neat things. So it's a space that everyone's moving towards. I will say, I hate this, but I'm being honest, that a lot of times the U.S. we're behind other countries in this. But it's nice to see, especially like Unreal Engine, these organizations that are global kind of taking a stance.
Yeah. So what are you doing with Unreal?
Yeah. Okay. So on roughly November 3rd, Unreal Engine's Build Architecture 2021 event occurred,
Oh,
and they're actually doing an event in London next week
really? Is that
in person. I don't know if that's
really?
where Carl's going.
Is that where Carl's going?
That's not where Carl's going. Carl's going to Digital Construction Week.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Fancy pants indeed.
So, if you missed it, definitely check out the website and stuff. But yeah, so they gave updates about the new Twinmotion Cloud, which makes it super easy to take. I think you guys have talked in the past about Datasmith, but it's an add-in. It's been around for SketchUp and Rhino and Revit and a lot of software. But instead of just pushing your model into Twinmotion for animations or renderings, now very easy, because I did it this morning. You can push it to the cloud and then send your clients, password protected or not, a URL, and up to 100 concurrent users can view the space at the same time, which I think is quite interesting if you think about community engagement. Or for me, I've always believed if our clients are paying us all this money, they should have equal access to the design, not just walk in a conference room, sit down and watch you run the mouse. They should be able to look at it however they want on their mobile device or, a VR headset or whatever. So this kind of enables that, which is really easy and exciting. So that's just Twinmotion's update. But the engine, which we're still waiting for UE5, we're still on Unreal Engine 4, unless you're in beta. The engine is, this is where I get super nerdy, you guys. If you leave Twinmotion and you go all the way into Unreal Engine, you're basically game developing at that point. And there is something called Blueprints, which exists. For me, it's kind of like Dynamo is to Revit, as Grasshopper is to Rhino, as Blueprints is to Unreal. So it's visual-based programming with nodes and spaghetti and inputs and outputs. But instead of interacting with the model, you're interacting with like a user experience, like, here's your player and what do you want them to do? And I followed their tutorials and was able to get a door to open and close when I zoomed in on it. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm so powerful. No, that's really dorky. Any game developer who might be listening to this would probably be rolling their eyes because it's probably really easy for them. But for those of us who do not come from that background, it's a nice bridge into that world. I
would be ecstatic if I were able to do something like that in any
cool.
It's like, wow, look, the door opened.
I did something in my animation.
Let's get the elevator to work.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. I'm going to post in our chat, and then I think maybe Bill or Carl or Dana, you can help me post it in the bottom when you post the podcast. But Epic Games' mega grant went out, and I saw the LinkedIn post. There is a company or a team who is kind of taking this to a new place, something that I've been wanting the industry to go to, but I've yet to see what's in my brain down on paper. You know what I mean? So Anthony Tufour, maybe, he's the global GIS lead at Bro Happold. They won the mega grant to basically use Unreal to visualize data as it relates to the buildings. Now, I think I don't know, but it looks like, and I think they're doing it on a scale of kind of city or, like a smart city or a whole big area. But I'm just really trying to take the design process there because we have data, whether it's coming from Cove Tool or benchmark data. I think that we have this data that informs our design. So things like square footage, cost per square footage, changes to the wish list program and the actual program, that we should be able to show our clients in a way they can see it while touring the project in an immersive way. It's very interesting. It's kind of a new frontier. I think we should go there.
Sure.
The question mark is, how much do all of us need to learn something like Blueprints versus, are they continuing to develop it into a way that's even easier for us to work with?
It's always going to get different. I don't know if it's going to get easier. It's all going to be different. Then another player is going to come along and make it different and easier or harder or what have you. I guess they're always easy at the beginning.
Yeah, and I think that the easier these types of technology become, the more users become engaged in it, and then the more widespread it becomes, right? The need becomes apparent, right? And unfortunately, us within the architectural and engineering world are really slow, especially like Sarah said in the States, sadly. Like we're always the last people to get the cool technology.
Well, and it's kind of this position where firms are having to decide, or maybe not yet, maybe they will be in the future, having to decide, okay, so are architects now learning to specialize in these tools, whether it's computational design or visualization or game development or website development, or does the traditional staff in an architecture firm change? And now it's totally normal to have, a data analyst and a game developer and a programmer inside your mix. So I think the trick here is finding ways to recoup that cost. And that's a tough discussion, because not always do the principals out winning the work fully understand the capabilities of what us BIMers know.
Us BIMers. I'm wondering if this is something like the microdesk world should get involved in and consult it out. So that then an architect firm could get started with it with a client that wants to do it, and they could farm that out to a consulting firm to get it done.
Right.
And then decide, okay, is it worth learning and hiring a person to do it and then buying all the stuff to do it for all the projects? Or do we just want to continue to hire out to do it and let the consultant keep up with the Joneses and get all the cool stuff? You got to find that happy medium between the two things. I think it's low-hanging fruit for the resellers.
Yeah. I mean, we have these wonderful things like Hypar and TestFit and SpaceMaker that are coming out, but there seems to be this sort of, for me, at least in my brain, sort of this disjointedness between sustainability and energy modeling data, project data as it relates to the program, or historic or PPOE data. Then there's, stuff like TestFit and SpaceMaker and Hypar that are generating new shapes. But is there a place, kind of like Willow is for digital twins, is there a place where all of this stuff acts together so the client can see it all together and make those decisions based off the implications of that data? And I think that's the piece that's missing. And in my brain, you heard it here first, but I could be wrong.
There is a place. It's called the firm you work for.
Well,
that's why the client hired your firm.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like Cove is starting to break those boundaries. The
Cove tool definitely is, but it's still only looking, well, not only, it looks at all sorts of things, but it's still focused, and I think it should stay focused on the sustainability related analyses. And I think Cove tool is a great tool. For me, I think we have a potential here in Unreal Engine to use it as the dashboard. I hate using that word dashboard, but to use it as the holder of the entire experience for the client. So you're visualizing the design, you're walking around it as much as you want. You're seeing, kind of like you're in a video game, and on the side you've got your lives left and your weapons and your money. You're seeing on the side panels what your cost per square foot is, depending on what your project type is, what your heat gain, what your EUI is, what potential design options do to affect that data. In my brain, I would like to be able to display all the disjointed, wonderful things happening in the industry in one spot that the client can access on a mobile phone. Is that too much to ask? I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe we'll get it done in 2030.
Well, and I guess the question is, in my mind, is are the clients asking for this yet? Because I think, unfortunately, kind of the
Mm-hmm.
way that we were alluding to before, that's where it's going to have to come. Because we're going to have to get clients interested enough to pay for this type of stuff that we can start the ball rolling on the technology and the workflow kind of methodology.
Or it has to be quick and dirty. And the developments I saw this week, especially with Twinmotion Cloud, is very exciting because it's real easy. It's real easy. And then if you did look at that, you're seeing kind of what I'm saying with monthly heat and energy profiles, and the metadata from the BIM information is all accessible and just displayed inside the same space. I don't know. I'm with you, Dana. Will they pay for it? I don't. It's like a chicken or an egg situation. But if it's a large enough scale project, and the software makes it quick and dirty enough, fast and loose enough, that you can do it a few times, and it allows the clients to not just make a decision, but to make a decision and understand the implications, the consequences of the decision, may it be fiscal or something else, faster, then it probably feels less of a hurdle to try to sell it. It's not really an ad service at that point. It's just the design process.
Totally.
Yeah. If it's easy to do, but there's got to be incentive for one party to do it. I mean, there's either an incentive for the design party to do it, or there's an incentive for the owner of the building to do it. Without the incentive, why do it?
Yeah, you may have clients that don't care. Like,
Yeah,
just build us the building.
right. Because I'm going to sell it in 3 years. What do I care?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested in how much it costs a month to run it. I'm interested in how much it sells for when it's done.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes me sad.
It does make us sad.
Especially given the scenario we're in the world, right? With
Yep.
greenhouse gases and all of the other
Mm-hmm.
things, the global temperature rising, the fear of that and the implications of that is. I mean, I think that we all have a stake, regardless of what our position is in the hierarchy.
Yeah.
So
There needs to be a financial incentive, either in a rebate or something for one of the parties in order for us to do that design that way.
sadly,
Yeah, it's very interesting. I was having coffee with somebody here in Raleigh yesterday, and we were talking about this topic. It's very interesting in our little niche of the world that is design technology,
Mm-hmm.
working especially for the design side, not necessarily a contractor and owner, but if you're working for especially an architecture firm where it's hard enough to just get people to pay for quality design anymore. What is our responsibility or our mission to the world in this little niche that we're in? Is there an impact that can be made from tools like Cove Tool or Insight, where we're using the computational expertise we have to build quote unquote better or more efficient buildings? Do we have a responsibility? I think yes. I don't know. Maybe other people think no. Is not just about speed and efficiency for me. It's not just about saving time, because where does that time even go? So then we cram another project in, and then who makes that money? Because I sure don't. But what is the purpose of design technology from a world impact level?
Yeah, I don't know.
I pose that to you guys.
well, it's almost rhetorical as well, right? It's almost one of those things that you almost have to sit on and think about, and almost to the audience, the participants, we'd love comments. What is your thought on that? I mean, I think that there's so many ways that architects, designers, construction practitioners, all of the above, we can make such an impact, right? I mean, I don't know the numbers right now, but I know it was fed to me in college that buildings produce 70% of greenhouse gases and all of these things. I don't know that number is accurate anymore. Especially with our findings of other things, but
Yeah.
regardless, we know that the built environment, it is a serious producer of problems that are causing our global a situation to become worse. So how do we improve this? And I think design technology has a huge role to be played.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm thinking,
you've got more than just the building too. It's the
There's
entire
so many
life cycle of the
factors.
building. I mean, it's
right,
the trucking the components to build the building to
right,
the site, the factories that made those things, the trucks that took the raw materials, the big ships that take the raw materials and the stuff around the globe just to build this one building.
The water
It's
runoff on
the
the site
water
itself.
runoff. I mean, there's so many things.
my current brain and where I'm going, just to tie this back around to Unreal, I guess my current thought is there something to be gained from normalizing the visual of the sustainability implications to our clients every time they go to look at the design, even if it's just on the side panel? If they get used to seeing it over and over and over, maybe through osmosis, no, I don't know, but maybe by normalizing the visuals, they start to, it sinks in a little. And as the developers get younger and younger, maybe they start to, oh, what's this graphic over here? And maybe start to pay attention a little more to it. I don't know. It's all, only time will tell. But for today, November
Today,
4th, when we're recording this, I'm
right?
thinking maybe it's worth a shot, because I don't know how much, even if we're using Cove Tool and Insight and One Click LCA and these wonderful lifecycle analysis tools for the design process, how often are we putting it right smack dab in front of our clients' eyes? And maybe that's aggressive. I don't know. But if it can be sort of subtle on the side panel of your mobile experience.
Maybe if it was easy enough to get those
Yeah.
calculations early in the design process,
Yeah.
in the design process where the client is picking different options to start from,
Mm-hmm.
and that energy model stuff is there, and it's easy to put on. It's just two buttons, boom, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
And then the client can look at it and go, wow, I'm down between these two options that I really like. This one is so much more energy efficient. Let's go with that one.
Boom. That's a dream scenario.
Dream scenario. Unreal.
Good job.
Or
Good
or
pun.
maybe we just build virtual buildings and let Zuckerberg just have people
In the
think
metaverse?
they're going into a new building when they're not.
Yes. We
Maybe.
design for the metaverse now.
Right. It's all meta now.
Oh my gosh.
It's been puntastic, I'll tell you.
I don't know
Well,
about that, Zuckerberg.
I don't know about that Zuckerberg guy,
I do
but
like new Oculus. No need for Facebook login anymore.
that is wonderful. I might look at it then.
Yes, same.
So yeah, if
That
we
was
could
really
just
good.
get that one click ish fast way to do the energy
Yep.
calcs early in the design from the schematic design, then the clients and the architects and the engineers and everybody can make a much more informed decision on which building option to choose.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe that's what we need to do.
If you just with what you've seen, Sarah, because I'm so far out of that realm of architecture, when you're
Sure.
thinking about, especially in early design and these types of concepts of, design approaches of saying, I want to, take a much more green or sustainable approach in terms of how we build this building, would you say that the cost is still astronomically different? So in that dashboard, are they going to be able to say, okay, here's my two options. This one is 75% more sustainable, but it's also 75% more costly. Would you say that that's probably on par with what you've seen?
I'm not sure about those numbers, but I think you are articulating exactly what I'm seeing in my brain, which is the opportunity to put them side by side in a visual way so that those decisions, you can see that one does in fact impact the other, and not anecdotally, but with the numbers.
Mm.
That is what I am is in my brain. Maybe the next time we talk, I will have proof of concept it, and it'll be so exciting because you all know I will share it if I figure it out.
Right. We gamify energy modeling.
Well, and these tools, like, I know we said it several times, but I really am a big proponent of Cove Tool. I do believe in what that team is doing. I think they're headed in the right direction. If you haven't checked it out, I fully endorse. But again, okay, so you're going to have to open another tool and maybe show your client in the meeting, or send them a link and they're probably not going to open it. We have to make it easy to access the information, or our clients are going to be like, what's the dollar amount?
Right. And the information,
unfortunately,
the information has to be meaningful and easy to understand.
Yeah, and not just there to justify your design, but like you said, Bill, early before you've figured everything out, so that the decisions are real, and we understand that in deciding one thing, you're giving something else up. And I think a lot of times we ignore what we give up because it's easy to ignore it. It's not in front of our face.
Right. I want that view looking directly into the sun.
Mm.
Oh boy, that just killed your energy model.
Well, yeah, kind of a plug and play type of atmosphere where you can, like if I change the glass to this type, what would that do in terms of sustainability, in terms of cost, in terms of, all of these types of things that you're obviously very curious about in the early concept of the design, right?
Right.
It'd also be interesting to see too, after the building is built, how close the energy model was.
Absolutely. And that's where you really get into the whole, like, going into the digital twin and monitoring if the building's performing for its life cycle the way it was designed. But
Right.
that's a whole other.
That's a whole nother podcast.
But I do think there's value in doing it early, and I think we can do it.
Well, we have to.
We have to. I agree, Bill.
Yeah. And on that note, I think we're going to call it a podcast, unless Carl has a question, because he's been quiet. Yeah, Carl, you got the final thought. Go for it. Live on the edge.
Nope.
Carl. He's eating candy, isn't he?
Yeah.
I was going to say, he did put some info in here about different candies.
Yeah, I think he's eating candy right now.
I'm going to go do the same. I'm going to go steal from my children's Halloween basket.
Let's all go get a piece of candy and treat ourselves for listening to another BIM Thought.